Testimony continues in the corruption trial of former Chicago Alderman Ed Burke.
Questioning today has centered around Burke's alleged shakedown of the owners of a Burger King restaurant in his ward. WGN's Mike Lowe live for us at the Dirksen Federal Building again this afternoon with more. Mike.
Ben and Lourdes, good afternoon to both of you. For most of the day, prosecutors have been questioning the owner of that Burger King restaurant. They've been trying to paint a picture of former Alderman Ed Burke and one of his political aides playing hardball. Former Chicago Alderman Ed Burke, donning his signature fedora, walked into the Dirksen Federal Building on a chilly gray morning for another day of testimony in his corruption trial. Today, the focus of prosecutors was Burke's alleged shakedown of Burger King owners. Taking the witness stand was Shoukat Dhanani, the CEO of Dhanani Group Incorporated, a Texas-based company that owns nearly 800 fast food restaurants across the country, including 150 Burger Kings in the Chicago area and one at 4060 South Pulaski in the 14th Ward, where Burke was alderman. In 2017, Dhanani wanted to remodel the Burger King as part of Burger King's company-wide plan to update the branding and style of its restaurants. Dhanani testified that he was advised by Texas politician Rodney Ellis to meet with Burke because, quote, he was obviously the alderman and one of the most powerful individual politicians after the mayor in Chicago. In a phone call secretly recorded by the FBI, Dhanani told Burke, quote, we have an application that's been made for a remodel and it's stuck at your office or something. Burke told him that there was a problem with the Burger King because semi-trucks were using part of the property as a sort of all-night truck stop. Burke wanted to meet in person with Dhanani and had his assistant set up a meeting. Burke later talked with the Texas advisor Rodney Ellis in a recorded phone call. He said, I'd like to get some of his law business. It's an important businessman here in Chicago. I hear he's got 300 Burger Kings. Dhanani testified that he met with the alderman at his Burger King property and then went to the alderman's country club for lunch. Dhanani said from the witness stand that Burke told him he has a law firm that fights for property taxes to keep them low. I thought maybe he's wanting us to give him property tax business. 2 months later, Dhanani had not hired Burke's private firm and began construction at his restaurant. When Burke saw the construction happening, he called his aide, Peter Andrews. Burke said, why was I able to hold it up? Andrews replied, they needed the driveway permits signed off on. Burke said, I don't remember signing off on any driveway permits. In another phone call, Andrews said, I'll play as hardball as I can. Construction was shut down, and today Dhanani testified, quote, my gut feeling was because I had not responded about the property tax business that maybe it had been shut down. And late this afternoon, defense attorneys have started their cross-examination of Dhanani. They are attempting to show that the restaurant needed those permits as a matter of law, not simply because Alderman Burke was holding them up. They are also trying to show that the restaurant owner never actually gave his business to Alderman Burke's private law firm. Reporting live at the Dirksen Federal Building, Mike Lowe, WGN News.
Thank you, Mike. Well, you've likely heard the warnings about a busy Thanksgiving travel week, or maybe you're still carrying around the scars from previous holiday travel trouble.
Oh, no, when you put it that way, Ben. Either way, we have called in travel expert Peter Greenberg to help us navigate the next few days. Last Christmas, we saw what can happen when the airlines are not prepared. Southwest's entire system, you remember, melted down. So he's going to tell us a little bit more about what we can expect this year. I am hoping that maybe we're in a better place this time around and that those issues have been fixed and we're in a good place. What can you tell us, Peter?
Well, let's start with some good news. You know, when you see the stories about 55.4 million Americans expected to travel over Thanksgiving, that doesn't mean tomorrow. It means it started last Thursday and will go through the 28th of November, which means people have spread out their departures. They've also spread out their returns. So usually tomorrow is the worst travel day of the year, not so much tomorrow. A lot of people got a head start both by car and by air, and that's good news right there. They've sort of mitigated the chaos. They haven't eliminated it, but they've reduced it. And the good news is, for most of the country, they're not going to get hit by weather. However, you know, you've been reporting on the weather. You know that on the East Coast, there are some problems. There's problems in the Rockies, and that will have an impact in those cities if you're trying to get there or trying to get from there.
Well, United sent us a couple of stats to put things in perspective. So this is going to be their busiest ever Thanksgiving travel week for the Chicago-based carrier. 5.9 million people flying. That's 5% more than before the pandemic. The airline's going to operate an average of 3,900 flights per day. That's 3 flights every minute. And at O'Hare, United expected tomorrow and Sunday to be the busiest travel days. But Peter, you just alluded to it, and that is this interesting trend we're seeing, thanks, I guess, to remote work. Does that really mean the old days of saying, oh, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving is going to be terrible and Sunday coming home is going to be awful? Does it have that big of an impact when people can spread out their holiday travel?
There's been a dramatic change in the post-COVID world because seasonality is no longer on the table. People are not talking about where they're going next summer. They're talking about where they're going next week. And as a result, they're extending business trips to leisure trips. They're adding leisure trips to business trips, and they can work remotely in many cases. So that's also contributed to the fact about why so many planes are full all the time. Now, they will drop off. The best time to travel will be the week after Thanksgiving. That's the dead week when everybody's recovering from that dysfunctional family get-together. And the next best, yes, that's what I'm saying. And then the next best time to travel is after January 3rd for that week, again, because everybody's just recovering from New Year's. So if you'll see in those 2 weeks, airfares dropping sometimes precipitously, so like 60% off. Same thing with hotel rates. So if for any reason you want to celebrate the turkey next week, it's a smart move.
Okay, we try to be smart around here. I want to ask you though, every year it seems like there is somewhat of a meltdown, whether it's a system failure or weather is an issue or something always tends to happen that slows some of the flights down. So if, let's say, people are in a situation like that where their flight gets canceled or delayed, what should they be doing? What are some precautions that they can take early on?
Well, one thing is if you're connecting flights, never book a flight that has less than a 2.5-hour connect time, because if you miss that first flight or that first flight's late, they can't put you on a later flight because it's going to be full. What a lot of smart travelers are doing, it does require an investment, but you'll get it back, is they're booking a second flight in their midpoint city as a refundable fare later on. So if they miss that first flight, they're still protected on the second. And if they don't need the second, they just refund the fare.
Wow, that's a level of preparation I wasn't ready for.
That's Peter Greenberg style preparation. Peter, we always appreciate your expertise. Happy Thanksgiving.
Right back at you guys.
You can get more at petergreenberg.com.
Thank you for joining us. All right, let's talk about home sales. There's a slump there just ahead. How long it's been since the real estate market saw so few sales.
Plus, the Karate Kid will reprise his role for an update to the 80s film favorite.
Oh, I think Craig.
Now the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois Skycam 9 traffic update.
Well, traffic heading out of the city this evening, very, very heavy for you. We're live right now over the Dan Ryan, just around 71st Street. So the left side there, the headlights, that's the outbound trip. So you can see it's just crawling pretty much out to 95th Street into downtown. So very, very slow for you. And that is the case for most of your expressways heading out of the city. So taking a look at your travel times, inbound on the Kennedy, not too bad, about 50 minutes from O'Hare. Outbound, though, you're looking at about an hour and 20 minutes to get out to O'Hare. The Eisenhower inbound, same thing, about 50 minutes. Outbound, an hour and 10 minutes to get out to 390. The Stevenson, still very heavy, heading outbound, an hour and 10 minutes to 355. And then on the Dan Ryan, once again, you are looking at about 45 minutes to get out to the Bishop Ford. That's a look at traffic live from Skycam 9. Shannon Halligan, back to you.
All right, Shannon, thank you. Well, sales of previously occupied homes slumped last month, hitting their slowest pace in more than 13 years. Existing home sales fell more than 4% between September and October. Sales of previously owned homes are down nearly 15% from the same time period last year. Analysts say surging mortgage rates and rising prices kept many prospective home buyers on the sidelines.
Next for us, the Bulls' latest loss creates questions about the shot selections or lack thereof from one of their stars. Jarrett Payton has that and more next in Sports Plus.
And the Rolling Stones make plans to hit the road. We'll tell you when to expect to stop here in Chicago.
Well, if it's not the Bears we're talking about, it's the Bulls' troubles.
That's what I do here every day, sitting at this desk, just talking about all the good stuff. I mean, it's better than the weather.
Today. Well,
Just today.
Yeah, it's okay.
You guys all look amazing, just to let you know.
We still don't believe you.
Okay. Hope you guys believe me on this one. Things aren't going so well for Billy Donovan and the Bulls so far. The idea to run it back with the big three of Vooch, LaVine, and DeRozan, well, it's not working out so far. Last night was just another chapter added to their slow starts to the season. With less than 3 minutes into the game, they were down 12-2 to Miami. And unlike Saturday night, the Bulls weren't able to climb out of the hole, losing to the Heat 118-100. The Bulls are now 5-10 on the season and have lost 4 of the last 5 games. Trade rumors continue to swirl around the team, and Zach LaVine had another quiet night, and despite 5 assists, he scored just 13 points of 5 from 9 shooting. The Bulls star guard attempted just 19 shots total overall the last 2 games, and something head coach Billy Donovan addressed after last night's loss.
I think Zach played really, really unselfishly. You know, I thought, generated a lot of good looks for other guys. But when he's aggressive, that's always good for us, you know. But again, sometimes I have to go back and look at the tape because, you know, there's sometimes, and I give him credit, that when he does drive the ball and help comes, he's a willing passer, you know. So I think we have to look at, like, what are the shots that maybe he bypassed or gave up that we need him to take, you know. And then what are the ones where he did drive it and there was a crowd, and he really did do a good job of like, he found Vooch in the baseline a couple times. He found some guys for some threes. So there's certainly a balance there of, you know, when he's open taking his shots, but also when he does put the ball on the floor and goes to the rim and there's a bunch of help there and he can't get to the rim. Just trying to find a way to make the right play. And I thought for the most part he did that tonight.
Well, the Blackhawks will be back on the ice tomorrow night in Columbus to take on the Blue Jackets. The Hawks, though, they head into this matchup on a 4-game losing skid. And while it's been a tough stretch for the team, Connor Bedard and his squad are focused on how to get things back on track.
I think just trusting your systems and kind of what you need to do as a team to be the best you can be. And I think for us, we've had so many flashes and times where we're playing great, and I think we know what we need to do to be successful, and I think it's just about sticking to that and hopefully getting some wins here.
Well, more offseason moves for the White Sox. According to baseball insider John Heyman, the Sox are nearing a deal with shortstop Paul DeJong. DeJong's a local product who went to high school at Antioch and played college ball at Illinois State. This comes just a week after the White Sox acquired Naperville native Nicky Lopez in a deal that sent Aaron Bummer to the Braves. But a return home brings some good memories for Lopez.
I mean, if I was to go somewhere, why not go home? So this is it's been a whirlwind, but it's been unbelievable. I grew up watching the White Sox. I remember going to the World Series, Game 2 of the World Series when Konerko tied it up. You know, hitting that home run right in front of us, actually, in the bullpen, and then Scotty Pods hit the walk-off. So I remember all of it, and it's kind of full circle, which is really cool.
Pretty cool. 2 local guys getting a chance to be able to come back home and play in their hometowns. That's pretty cool.
All right. Thank you, JP.
No problem, Lourdes.
Will you be here tomorrow?
Yes, I'll be here tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good. We'll wish you a happy Thanksgiving.
Do you 2 need a moment? I mean,
no,
we can
I
step
just
out.
was wondering. I didn't get a chance to talk to you
I was feeling
today.
the love, though. I'm not going to lie.
Good. You should. All right, Demetrius. Are you here tomorrow?
Well, that was a contrast. Let's take a look at how things are going to be for us today. We are expecting to see cloud cover, which is going to exit the area. We're looking at mostly cloudy skies now. We'll see decreasing clouds, and things will be very nice as we get into Thanksgiving. As a matter of fact, let's take a look here. 45 your high temperature on Wednesday. As you get to Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, we're up to 47. Friday, 41. We cool down this upcoming weekend with a chance for snow that comes our way this upcoming Sunday. Back to you, Ben, and what's her face?
Thank you, Demetrius. I appreciate it. Ahead at 5, massive meal prep on the south side. We'll have a look at what it takes to make 3,800 from-scratch Thanksgiving meals for those in need.
But first, the pumpkins were just too tempting for these elephants.
And today's playlist pick, Turn a Bad into a Positive by Ronnie Baker Brooks. He appeared on the WGN Midday News. He's getting ready to record a new album, and he'll be performing at City Winery tomorrow.
Times are gonna get better. Times are gonna get better for me. My mama said it's gonna be days like this. Keep on living, son, you will see. She said, count the blessings in the life that you live and turn the bad into a positive.
This is Chicago's very own WGN Evening News at 4.
The Rolling Stones are going back on tour next year.
The band's only playing 16 cities on their North American tour. They'll return to Soldier Field June 27th. The band is supporting their new album, Hackneyed Diamonds, their first album of new material in almost 2 decades. You can go to rollingstones.com for a pre-sale code. Tickets for the general public will go on sale December 1st.
Comedian and game show host Wayne Brady got into a fistfight after a car crash in Los Angeles. Police say Brady was driving on a highway in Malibu when another car backed into him. They both pulled over. An argument escalated into some sort of fight. Brady called police and the other driver then took off. That driver is charged with DUI, hit and run, and battery.
Worlds are colliding in the universe of the Karate Kid. Original Karate Kid Ralph Macchio will team up with Jackie Chan for a new movie in the enduring franchise. Macchio, of course, starred in the original in the 1980s and the spin-off series Cobra Kai, while Jackie Chan starred in a rebooted version decades later as the Karate Mentor. But they're looking for a new young Karate Kid and are putting out an open casting call. The new movie is set to arrive in theaters during Christmas season of next year. A big Thanksgiving treat for some very big fellows at the Milwaukee County Zoo.
So you don't have to make pumpkin pie out of these pumpkins. These African elephants just enjoy eating the raw pumpkins themselves. They're doing a pretty good job at it. The pumpkins are not just a treat, they're also part of an enrichment program for those elephants. And happy Thanksgiving to them.
Yeah, and that's what I say when I'm eating pumpkin pie. Just part of an enrichment program.
There you go. Okay. Let's go
Micah?
to.
Hello, Micah. Where'd that
Enriched
come
and
from?
gorged. Because I always love, I look over and when you're just
she's
shaking
going,
your head.
Well, you know, it's apropos for you always, you know. Thanks, guys.
All right, bye. Have a good show.
evening.
See ya.
Evanston City Council approves the plans for a new Ryan Field with concerts new at 5. We'll hear from the mayor who cast the deciding vote and one of the council members against the plan.
And plan to pack some leftovers in your carry-on with new at 5. We're going to discuss what needs to be packed away and what the TSA will let pass through security.
And Tom Skilling has your updated forecast when the WGNE News continues at 5.
Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mic check. Mic check.
put the gun on me.
Right now at 5, with a gun to his head, a Munster, Indiana homeowner robbed and beaten in a terrifying home invasion. Now a reward is being offered to track down those responsible.
The popular smokehouse goes up in flames just days after it reopens.
And whether you're driving or flying, travel for Thanksgiving is underway. We're live at O'Hare with a look at what you can expect.
So far, the weather at least is cooperating with travelers. Tom Skilling will have a look at the forecast.
This is Chicago's very own WGN Evening News at 5.
Bound and battered by armed robbers in a terrifying home invasion. Family in Munster, Indiana, now offering a reward for information about their attackers.
WGN's Julian Cruz spoke with the victims about their ordeal.
Good evening. A Munster family offering a $15,000 reward for information leading to the suspects after getting beaten and robbed in a violent home invasion last month. Munster, Indiana detectives still looking for the culprits.
They must have entered through my garage.
The victims, who asked us not to reveal their identities,
They kept on asking, where is money?
describing how the armed robbers made entry to their Munster home on the 1400 block of Park West Circle on the afternoon of October 27th.
So this is the basement they went, right?
The homeowner's sister downstairs, the first to encounter the gunman.
She was dragged down to the basement and was tied up so tight, totally with her whole nose and mouth with the, the tape, duct tape, about 15 rounds of duct tape. She couldn't breathe, and she was bleeding heavily.
That's when the mass robbery crew, 5 in all, surprised the others upstairs.
I was sitting in the porch outside my room in the balcony, and then they came out and put the gun on me, telling, come on, get up.
The gunmen, who spoke to each other in Spanish, the homeowner says, demanding money.
They dragged me to the safe, where I have a safe in my closet. Finally, they made me open the safe, and there was nothing but passports. He got mad and hit me with the gun butt right here in my head.
The frustrated gunmen gathering up jewelry and any other item they could find in a suitcase, fleeing the scene.
This wasn't just a crime of opportunity. We believe they did their homework.
Munster's police chief says the robbery crew targeted this home on Park West Circle. Surveillance cameras in the neighborhood capturing these images of the 5 gunmen fleeing the scene in 2 different vehicles, later recovered in Chicago. 2 persons of interest captured by security cameras.
We do have identified 2 persons of interest, but we need the public's help.
The victim's family, fearing this could happen to somebody else, offering a $15,000 reward for information leading to the apprehension and the conviction of the suspects. Log on to our website for a direct link to police investigators. In Munster, Indiana, Julian Cruz, WGN News.
After a rainy morning, things are drying up as we head into the holiday weekend.
And Tom Skilling is here to break down the forecast for us. Hi, Tom.
Yeah, guys, we'll get some mixed sunshine tomorrow and a trend toward more sun as the day goes on. But boy, what a change there's been in the last week. We had a 61 a week ago this day. 44 was the high today, and we're down in the upper 30s, low 40s tonight, and it rained. The heavens opened. Heaviest rain since almost an inch and a half fell back October 11 to 15, 5 weeks ago. We had over a half an inch at O'Hare, midway over an inch. We'll show you a complete list, which shows a lot of folks received over an inch of rain out of this system. But the wet, windy storm's moving on. Clouds break tonight. The gusty winds will continue through tomorrow. And mixed sun is in the picture tomorrow, which is good news. We'll have a couple of mid to upper 40-degree days, including for Thanksgiving. And then the chill intensifies. And while one storm moves on, another one gathers out to the west. This thing could come in over the weekend. We could get some snow on Sunday. It doesn't look like a big deal right now, but here's a look at the rain on the radar that went through here and now is well off to the east of us. Was a wet day, much of it here in Chicago. The rain has ceased. Kind of cool and windy out there, guys. Much more on the holiday weather coming up in just a few minutes. I'll see you then.
All right, thanks, Tom.
You
From
bet,
holiday
Ray.
weather to holiday travel, Americans are already on the road and flying around the country to celebrate Thanksgiving, according to the TSA. Today, tomorrow, and Sunday will be the busiest days to fly over the holiday.
O'Hare and Midway expecting to see more than 1.5 million passengers between today and Monday. WGN's Dana Rebick is live at O'Hare with the details. Hey, Dana.
Hi, and as Tom mentioned, with the good weather, the calm conditions, it bode very well for passengers here today trying to get out to their destinations or flying into Chicago. We did not see a whole lot of cancellations or delays. And as far as the total travel numbers go, here is a look at what we're going to see this week. Sunday, we know, will be the busiest travel day across the country with nearly 3 million people flying. Wednesday, 2.7, and today, 2.6 million people flying. Here in Chicago, Sunday also expected to be the busiest day at O'Hare and Midway with nearly 300,000 passengers coming in and out on that day alone. Now, between today and Monday, as you mentioned, both airports will welcome more than 1.65 million passengers. That's slightly higher than last year. United Airlines expecting one of its busiest travel days since the pandemic on Sunday. They say they have de-icing trucks ready to go at airports that are expected to experience cold weather over the next few days, and also wanted folks to know that they have hired several more flight attendants, pilots, and customer service agents to try to make this holiday season a little smoother. Now, today here at O'Hare, we had a chance to talk with one woman from Chicago who just flew back here from Florida just in time for the holiday here with her family.
And we're coming back for Thanksgiving to be with the family, and from Miami we're coming. And it was very nice there. We were there at 10 o'clock. We are still a lot of time, but there was not so many people like here. When we got on the plane here, I'm like, oh my goodness.
On the roads, AAA anticipates more than 55 million people will drive between Wednesday and Sunday. The Illinois Tollway expects nearly 9 million vehicles on the road, 8.8 million over the extended Thanksgiving holiday. Now, if you have family coming in from out of town, you can temporarily add them to your iPass account online. The Illinois Tollway is also suspending most construction work starting tomorrow through Monday. Now, here at O'Hare and Midway, they are reminding folks if you're going to be parking your car to check the status of lots ahead of time, as many of them can fill up. You can also make a reservation for a spot online. Also, for folks to note, parking at Terminal 5 in Lot D is very limited right now due to construction on a new parking garage there. Live at O'Hare, Dana Rebick, WGN News.
Okay, Dana, thanks a lot. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel will continue its war against Hamas even if a temporary ceasefire is reached. Protesters in Tel Aviv called on the Israeli cabinet to approve a proposal to pause fighting for several days in exchange for the release of about 50 of the hostages Hamas is holding. A senior Hamas official told reporters an agreement could come soon. He said it would also include Israel freeing Palestinian prisoners. U.S. officials seem cautiously optimistic. They say the agreement may also allow more humanitarian aid to flow into Gaza. They've helped place aid in Egypt, so it is in position for a quick delivery.
Extensive damage this afternoon from a fire at a Chicago carryout restaurant that's a city institution. Calumet Fisheries apparently opened with 5 employees and some customers inside when that fire broke out. Much of the fire in the roof. No injuries have been reported. City Health Department recently closed the restaurant for failing health inspections. Inspectors say they found dead mice and droppings. They had just reopened Saturday.
The corruption trial of former Chicago Alderman Ed Burke focused today on his alleged shakedown of a Burger King in his ward. Prosecutors say Burke tried to pressure the owners into hiring his private law firm in exchange for city construction permits.